and you were the first on that. And I always thought, okay, that makes sense that we have not humans, because if it was humanoid, that's a threat. Like, it's a threat in my mind. A humanoid in a game is a threat pretty much in almost every single game. So my first instinct is kill. A hot dog, it's not threatening. It's fun. My first instinct isn't shit, kill. It's okay. What do I got to have fun with here? And let's go. It's sort of what Gorn did. Those gladiators, they're comical. They're not threatening. They're comical. And now I can experiment and have some fun. So I see where you're going with that. Of course, H3 is PCVR only. And that's always been interesting to me. I'm not going to put words in my mouth. I don't think you're anti going to the Quest. It's just not what you want to do. That's how I see it. Have you ever thought... Go ahead.
I mean, there are layers to it. The first is just that, like, almost everything that makes H3 special and unique is H3's sort of performance requirements are pretty inverted to most VR games. Most VR games are GPU bound. They're like, most of what makes them expensive is what they're drawing and the complexity of what they're drawing, which means that they're fairly, even if they're difficult to port to something like the Quest, they're straightforward to solving that problem. H3 is completely inverted. H3 absolutely hammers, especially a single fast thread on the CPU, and is incredibly forgiving on the, like, it can be dialed down to a preposterous extent on the GPU. I think the slowest GPU that I've had a user confirmed who happily played the game, at least they were happy, was a 765M on their work-assigned laptop. It still had an i7 in it, so they're playing on WMR, lowest quality settings, probably getting 60 FPS, but they were happy. But if you throw a really weak CPU at the game, it just dies. It just, because everything is so physics-driven. The AI is very complex. The sound mixing is very complex, and that's something that doesn't migrate down onto like Android hardware well at all. So just from a technical standpoint, even if I was super enthused and excited and wanted to go to Quest, I would have to it would require effectively starting from scratch and constructing something that didn't contain most of what I find interesting about working on the project in the first place. So it would have the H3 name on it, but it wouldn't actually be the product that I have passion for. And that's, so there are obviously a whole bunch of other secondary concerns, but even setting those aside, it's because you get different sorts of philosophies between, like, I know some people who are more on the biz devy side, and the way that they think about making a software product and developing a project is, I'm going to call it H3 and then make whatever will run on that hardware, because that's my goal, is to make a product. Whereas for me, it's always been about exploring a certain vision and exploring certain sorts of systemic relationships, and authoring systems that are interesting to me, and doing experiments that are interesting to me. And if I can't do it on the hardware, then I'm just, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I appreciate you. It's a weird comment, but I think you're one of the few keeping PCVR dreams alive. Now, the topic of PCVR being dead and stuff too, like, I kind of struggle with the thought of just defining, first of all, PCVR, because if you ask people, tethered is PCVR and standalone is not PCVR. However, standalone with virtual desktop, some still consider that not PCVR. What's Anton's definition of PCVR, and how do you see it going in the next, is it coming back the decades?
I mean, I think of PCVR as software that needs a PC to run.
That's what I do.
Like, yeah. I don't care what the method you're going about doing it is. Like, I had a user a while back that was using a PSVR HMD and like Wii nunchucks with custom software to get it all running. That was PCVR. He was running on a PC and playing PCVR games. That's PCVR as far. I'm not one of those people that likes to, create these weird, arbitrary excluding boundaries. But that's what it is to me. And I don't know. I think almost everyone who calls anything dead is doing so in this premature way. I think that's an affliction of gamers in general, that like you have games that are no longer getting active content, and thus they're immediately dead. Like a dead game is a game you can't play anymore.
Yes.
Like, oh, I can't install it because it relied on it only ran under Windows 2000 or something. That's a dead game. If you can still play it, it's not a dead game. Like, so I find those, but the thing is, people nowadays instead conceptualize this game as alive versus dead, in that like this is actively growing, hopefully accelerating in its growth, so that I'm both getting more primary source content, but also getting a whole bunch of free secondary source content from its community. But the fact of the matter is, like, there could be no more PCVR games coming out made by anyone, but with VR chat still going, like, PCVR wouldn't be dead because there's a huge creator community in there. So any sort of notion that that's dead because right now it isn't in anyone's interest to release a new PCVR HMD product in the next 6, maybe 12 months is just silly.
It's very silly. And it's also, well, let's put it this way. You know, it's emotionally charged. It's a lot of emotional attachments from the OG enthusiast who unfortunately saw VR. I think you and I agree on this one. We've talked about it before. VR reset with the Oculus Quest 2. And that's fine. But you have a lot of people who are emotionally charged, who feel, for some reason, I don't understand why they feel slighted. You had fun for a few years and things restart. Sorry, you're going to continue to have fun. It's not a big deal. Just keep having fun. But it did kind of reset. And I don't know how long it'll take to fix, but I don't think anyone knows how to fix it. There's no short-term solution.
Yeah, and even beyond the sort of reset, I think the sad fact of the matter is that people had very unrealistic expectations to begin with, because, you know, it's harder to make a video game than most even diehard fans of video games want to act like they have actually admitted to themselves. Even if they've said they, you know, admit it, they don't, you know, or acknowledge it. They don't act like it. You know, even if we hadn't had a situation where a ton of people got burned out, a ton of people got acqui-hired, etc., and so a bunch of that collective knowledge contracted, the first wave of this wasn't exactly a huge creator community to begin with. Like, it wasn't actually enough experts to seed an entire large game industry to build this magical wave of full-scale real games that everyone wanted. Like, I'm sorry, it's just going to take a lot longer to, you know, to create that base of expertise.
Yeah, and I don't know if many, like, who's ever watching this and you've been playing VR since early on. Do you honestly, are you kidding yourself that you thought it was great when you were playing it? It was fun, but fun and great and quality can be 3 different things. And I had a blast playing when I was playing, but the save was good. I remember playing Atex Cybernetic one day. Fun game. Not good. I mean, at the time, it was buggy as hell. Barely worked. Doom BFR or whatever it was. Fun. Not probably great, but to put that on a pedestal that, hey, that's at least PCVR they're trying. No, it's not. We got to recalibrate here. That's fine. Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and Fireside Chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.